Hi there. Crying is a real part of all our experiences in life. To cry is human. We come into the world as babies, probably crying in one form or another. And when we die, there will be crying. And in between times, there will be moments of crying as well. What have you wanted to moan about or cry about this last little while? Last week, I wanted to moan. So I did for a bit. Because my aging cell phone crashed and I had to get a new one. My keyboard on my laptop crashed, so I have to get a new one. And all these things just kind of come at one. And then you're dealing with so many things, but those are technological things, but more emotional things. So much death going on around us. So many people at risk within a pandemic. So many challenging situations. Lives are being threatened. Values are being questioned. So much going on in our world. We are given permission by God to cry. What to say firstly, when we think about lamenting, when things truly fail, truly lament. God has given us emotions. God has given us passion for things. And when things go bump, when things don't go right, God says, that's good. Being real with that is important. So we need to understand that life isn't always going to go easy. We will have mountains to climb. To be at the top of a mountain is a good thing, but we got to climb to get there. And so the challenges are real, and to acknowledge that. So when we think about a lament, the lament is the biblical word for allowing us to express our thoughts. To lament is more than just cathartic speech, just getting it out. Whilst that's a good thing from a psychological perspective, to lament is more than an expression of pain. It is not just crying out, oh God. It is saying, God, you alone can help me in this. In other words, to lament is to turn it into prayer, to turn the pain and the struggle into prayer. I invite you to do that. Secondly, we need to learn the power of lament prayer. And when we understand that there is power in prayer itself, there is also power in being able to pray out our emotions to the God who is listening. Because God says, ask and you will receive. He's available to us. This God is listening to our prayer. Learning that lament prayer is us turning our emotions towards God and praying them out enables us to understand that the permission is given in 1/3 of the Psalms to moan, to complain, to grieve, to cry out to God. And a lament prayer is saying, God, I turn to you. I bring to you my complaint, and I talk it out before I talk it with anyone else. I talk it through with you. And then I ask boldly for help. God, I need help in this area. And then choosing to trust God with whatever the outcome is or result is from within that prayer. For God is listening, and God turns these situations around for us into greater glory for him and benefit for us. The third thing is that we need to see that Jesus is at the center of it all. You see, the narcissistic part of all of us wants to say we're the center. We're the center of the world. We're the center of our lives. But Jesus is the center. And we invite Jesus into the center of our being, into the center of the situation, of our emotion, of our thinking, of our context. What is going on around us? We bring that context into the very core of our being where Jesus resides. And we let Jesus be Lord in that space, for Jesus alone is Lord. This means we need to move away from the commotion and the noise that's going on, social media questioning, shouts of criticism and questions of our integrity and questions of God's integrity, to move to the place of stillness and quietness, to listen to the still small voice of God, where God says, this is my word, my rhema word, my healing word, and we receive his touch. Because when we are touched by God, we receive the wholeness, the shalom, the expression and signs and wonders of the kingdom of God. And so we let God be God, but then we let God do what God does. That's the miraculous. And having invited Jesus into the center of things where he really exists and dwells in our being, God is able to transform situations, to bring hope to the hopeless, life to the dead, sight to the blind, hearing to the deaf. Jesus reaches out, and like with Jairus' daughter, as with those who cry out in pain and say, "Come and help me," Jesus is there to speak a rhema word, a healing word, a kingdom word, a life-giving word, and to touch us with signs and wonders. And we let God do the miraculous. And so our key thought today is this: to cry is human, but to lament is Christian, because God welcomes our cry out to him in the reality of our experience of life. Because to cry is part of the experience from life, birth, death experiences. You can be real with God. So take a moment and write out your lament prayer. Write it out and pray it to God, because we long for God to end our pain. We long for God to heal. We long for God to wipe every tear from our eyes, as is the promise in Revelation 21. And he will, for God is listening to you. Take a moment now, and in the struggles of every day, know that God is listening, and God's power is at work within you and for you. God bless you.